Hello, and welcome to Joline Knits A Lot. This is my show about knitting and crafting and the things I get up to here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where it is currently snowing. Since the last time I saw you, all of our snow melted, and then in the last couple days, we've got a huge pile of snow again. So I am very much looking forward to our spring melt and nicer weather. So if you are enjoying green, blooming, and wonderful weather, then know that I am thinking of you and I'm a little jealous. I have a little bit of a bug right now. It's just a little cold, but sorry if I'm clearing my throat a little bit today. My older daughter had her wisdom teeth pulled yesterday, and she spent the afternoon crocheting blocks for a blanket that she's making with a friend of hers. She's the same daughter who crocheted these flowers for me. And I was talking to her a little bit about them, and she said that if you have any questions for her about these beautiful flowers that she's crocheted, and I'll put a picture on the screen now so you can see them a little better. But if you have any questions about how she made them, the yarn she used, what pattern she used, put them in the show notes below, and I'll do a little interview with her on an upcoming podcast. So let me know if you have any questions for my crocheting daughter, and I'll be sure to pass those along to her. My corgi is trying to get my attention. I don't know why. I've fed him many things today. And he certainly doesn't need anything more, except for maybe some attention. So we're gonna plow through this podcast and we'll see how he does. Let me show you some of the things that I've been working on lately. I have continued to work on socks that excite me, and most of them are coming from Summer Lee's book, The Sock Project. She's just really, I don't know, the designs she comes out with are really fun looking. She chooses amazing colors, her photography is great, and all of those things make me want to knit her patterns. So I knit one more of the basic socks from her book. These are the Flegal heel, so it's a toe-up sock. I started down here, and I used some lovely yarn that I picked up locally at the Fiber Nook. It is a wool and hemp blend, and I don't think I have ever knit with hemp before. It gives a bit of a, I don't know, it's slightly different than just merino. It feels like, it almost feels like a linen. It's kind of got that, crunchy isn't the word, but that different texture that plant fibers can have. When I knit toe-up socks, for some reason, I like to use the magic loop method. I think it's because the cast on that I prefer is a Turkish cast on, where you do a slip knot on one needle, and then you simply wrap the yarns around. There's lots of tutorials on how to do a Turkish cast on. But I find that magic loop is the easiest way for me to get going. And then I just keep knitting on magic loop. So top down, DPNs, bottom up, magic loop. Does anybody else do that? Do you change your technique for the way that you're knitting? Or is that just me? Anyway, here are the lovely socks that I knit. I use some Stroll from Knit Picks for the toes and the cuffs, and the rest is done in that lovely merino hemp yarn. Here's the Flegal heel. So increases are done along this edge, and then you go back and forth, kind of like the bottom of a heel flap and gusset, back and forth, and then you knit around when you get to the top of the heel. The really nice thing about this technique is you don't get a hole at the top. So I'm looking forward to giving this pair a try. I'm interested in the fit of the Flegal heel, but I'm also interested in how this merino hemp yarn wears. I'm going to just swap these socks out for another pair of socks that I've finished, but I'm going to be keeping my socks that I've been knitting from the sock project in this lovely basket that my daughter also crocheted. And if you have any questions about any of the things I've showed you that she's crocheted, pop them in the notes below, and I'll be sure to answer all of your questions with her in an upcoming podcast. So for right now, I've done 3 pairs of socks. My next pair is going to be a lace pair, and I've wound up the yarn It is this lovely speckled yarn that I picked up at Polka Dot Creek the last time I was there. This is their simple sock base. It's fingering weight, and it's called Neapolitan, like the ice cream. Get a dog, they said. We do love our dog very much, but he can be a little noisy and somewhat demanding. Anyway, I'm keeping all of my socks from the sock project in that lovely basket that my daughter made me. I don't know why. I think it just gives me great satisfaction to see a whole bunch of socks in one basket. And yes, I'll be casting on some lacy socks because I think that'll be a nice sort of springtimey sock when the weather starts, when it stops snowing. And I can start wearing a little bit warmer weather clothes. I think that lace socks would be lovely. I also managed to finish off, I'm putting this on my sock blocker the wrong way. I managed to finish off my March pair of sport weight socks. This is a pair of socks that I knit from a club that I participated in last year from Knitspin Farm. All of the yarns are self-striping in a sport weight, Targhee sport weight. And the colors are based on either farmyard life or nature. So these socks are based on the Sandhill Crane. There are some lovely stripy socks. I knit these from the top down, and I did a heel flap and gusset because I haven't done that in a while. And I just felt like doing it. I feel like the stripes turned out quite nicely. So they're just a simple pair of socks. I use 56 stitches when I knit my sport weight socks, and I knit on a 2.75 millimeter needle. I also have a little bit of fluff there. There we go. One of the things that I have been doing lately in all of my socks is trying to neaten up my SSK decrease. For a lot of knitters, the knit two together decrease is quite a neat decrease. Let me show you that one. This is the knit two togethers. I'll show you to you this way because this is the direction I was knitting in. So this isn't, that's a lie. Those are not the knit two togethers. Yes, no, it is. This is the knit two together. And you can see how neat that decrease is. All of the stitches are very even. Often an SSK decrease can be sloppier. It's just how that decrease is performed. When you slip the stitches, it tends to stretch them out a bit. So I have been using the technique where I do my, I slip knit, and then on the next round, I knit the stitch that was at the top of that decrease through the back loop to snug it up. And this is what I've got going on. Now it's not as neat as the SSK decrease, but I think it's an improvement on what I have been doing. So I've been trying that a lot lately in all of my decreases. Maybe I can show you that side by side. Can I? I don't know. I'm having one of those days. Let's see. One of these is an SSK, and one of these is a knit two together. This is a knit two together. This is the SSK. And I think they're quite tidy. So I'm really happy with how that's working out for me. And I think it just goes to show that no matter how long you've been knitting, there are always little tips and tricks that you can learn to help improve your techniques. Now, I do have to consciously think about that because it's not my go-to. It's not what I have been doing historically. And so I do have to like really concentrate when I'm working my decrease rounds to make sure that I'm knitting that one stitch through the back loop to snug it up. But so far, I'm really happy with the results. So those are my Sandhill Crane socks. This is just a pair of sort of plain vanilla socks with a heel flap and gusset. And they'll be going on probably in my drawer because I've really been enjoying wearing these sport weight socks lately. I have one more thing that is a completed object. It's not really off my knitting needles, but it is off a needle of sorts. And it's a cross stitch project. This is the second room in the mystery series done by Diana Waters. I'll just zoom in on that for you. This is a group of 5 cross-stitch pictures. Each picture is a different room in a house where 5 roommates are living. And the idea is that each room has one aspect of a mystery, a murder mystery, if you will. So room number 1 is right there. And I'm pretty sure that that one is the time. So the when, because it's got a big clock in it. And maybe I'll pop a picture of it here so you can see. The clock is like sort of an obvious part of the design. So I think that that one indicates what time the murder took place. This one, I think, if I show you, I think it's the murder weapon. So is that the how? Anyway, you see these little candles here by the cute little portrait? This candle does not have a candle holder. So I think it was this candle holder. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Who knows? Anyway, it was really fun to knit or to cross stitch this picture. I kind of like the mid-century modern sort of feel of the artwork, the lattice. Excuse me. So this is picture number 2. It's called Davy's Den. And the next picture I'm going to be doing is the little portrait of Davy. I am still sort of waffling on what the best way to display these pictures are. There's going to be 5 of them, so I think I'm going to hang them in a row of 3 on top and then 2 on the bottom. But I guess I'm sort of waffling on how best to display the portrait with the room. But I'll figure it out. This bottom section is really interesting because these little green blips are just the background color. So there's no stitch there. And I did find this one definitely more challenging than the first one because of the dark fabric. I think I understand why that she chose the dark fabric. I mean, all of the white details really stand out, but it was difficult for me to cross stitch, particularly maybe at this time of year when it's not as bright and we've had a lot of cloudy days. I finished mine just with some felt. I had purchased a very large piece of felt, I think from Michael's, and I just keep it in my cupboard, tucked away at the top, right up here. And then whenever I finish a cross stitch that didn't come with some backing fabric, I trace around the inside of the embroidery hoop. I cut it out and then I just stitch it on. And then I write with a Sharpie the picture or the date. For this one, it's the second in a series. So I wrote about Davy's Den and the year 2024. So this is the first room in the house. It's Luna's living room. And as you can see, I'm pretty sure it's the time. And then this is the second room. It's Davy's Den. And I'm thinking it has to do with this little missing candlestick. But we shall see. There are 4 rooms in the house that are out now. I have the next one in the series, which is the greenhouse. And then I believe there's a kitchen. And the 5th room, I don't think has been released. All of the patterns are available as a PDF from Diana Waters Handmade. She's on Etsy. And she's an amazing cross-stitch designer out of Ontario, Canada. She also has kits, and all of the kits have had more than enough floss for me. I've always had probably twice the amount of floss that I've needed to complete the pictures, along with needles and very clear instructions, a clear pattern as well. It's divided up, each pattern is divided up into 4 sections. So it's sort of like this section here, and then this section here. So it's more than half, and then this section here, and then the bottom sections are divided in 2. But because these are mirror images, it makes it quite easy to just complete this whole bottom section in one go. Yeah, I've really been enjoying her kits. I have made her kits before, and when she came out with this mystery series, I was definitely intrigued. Partly because it's fun to make these cute pictures. They're a bit more challenging than previous ones that I've done because of all the colors and some different stitches. This one, I'm not sure if you can see, but there are some French knots that I think I did pretty well. And this one's got more of the back stitching and outlining stitches, but they've been really fun to work on. And I look forward to the release of the next room, which I guess might be the last clue we need to figure out what's happened. I'll keep you updated. Anyway, as I continue to solve this mystery, you can let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts about what's going on there too. So that's all the things that I've finished in the last couple of weeks. I am today wearing my Easy V pullover. This is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks. This pattern was originally designed to be knit with a worsted weight yarn, but as is my habit, I changed it to a lighter weight yarn. I just prefer lighter weight knits. So this is knit in a sport weight yarn. And there are notes on my project on previous episodes of this show, but also in my Ravelry if you're interested. So it's not really spring here. I mean, I'm watching big fat snowflakes fall slowly to the ground. It's very wintry outside, but spring is coming because it's always coming. And so I've decided to put some effort into some warmer weather knits for myself and sort of make a plan as to what I'd like to make. I have 3 knits that I'd like to make, and then a couple of, I guess, 3 knits that are garments, one that's an accessory, and then one that is still up in the air. And I thought I'd share those with you today. I cast on a pullover because that was the first thing I think I'll be wearing once the weather starts to warm up. It takes a while for things to get really, really warm here. And often I find that I'm layering pieces. So I wanted like a long sleeve sort of sweater / t-shirt that I could wear over things as a layering piece when it's cooler weather still, or maybe in the evenings and mornings as the summer starts. So I cast on the Sabella pullover. This is a pattern by Isabel Kramer, and I'll show you a picture of it here. I'm knitting mine in one color, and I'm using Knitting for Olive, her 100% silk. It is called a barrette silk. I probably said that wrong. But when I looked into this product online, because I wanted to learn a little more about it, the company website states that it is knit from, the yarn is made from silk cocoons once the silk, I think it's a moth, I'm pretty sure it's a moth, has left the cocoon. So no insects are harmed in the making of this yarn, is my understanding. It is a 100% silk, and I'm finding it actually just fine to knit with. It is a little bit splitty. Let me show you my progress. So this is an interesting cast on. It's got a saddle shoulder, which I'll show you right here on this one side so that you can just see the construction of this pullover. It's done from the top down. So you've got these like strips that sit across the top of your shoulder. So you knit increases on this side, and then you stop increasing on the body and you increase on the sleeve. So then the sleeve starts to get wider and the body stays the same. So you've got this like seam that comes across, not seam, but a faux seam, a line of increases that goes here across the top of the shoulder, and then it turns and goes down the inside of the arm. I have reached the point where I've separated the sleeves from the body, and I feel like this pullover, I was sort of measuring it to myself several times because I was feeling like this armhole is kind of deep. It goes maybe 2 inches below, 1.5 inches below my actual armpit. But I think that will make it easier to layer and pull on over top of other things. Plus, in a warm weather garment, I don't want something that is super close fitting. I think I'd like something that is drapier and got a little bit of extra ease. So I'm just now knitting straight down the body. I'm making it quite plain. I didn't choose to use 2 colors. I do like horizontal stripes. I like them quite a lot. But I thought for this garment, it would be nice to have something that is just simple and top down. I'm knitting it with about 4 inches of positive ease. So I think it will have a nice amount of drape. And I'm currently knitting on my second ball of yarn. This is the ice blue colorway. And like I said, I think I'm liking knitting with the yarn. I'm using a 3.5 millimeter needle for the body, so it is an airier fabric, which maybe helps in the ease of knitting it. And also, I'm trying to be conscious of the fact that this yarn can be a little bit splitty, so I'm watching for that as I knit. And I'm using my Lika Cipra needles, which are a copper needle tip. So they are quite pointy, and I'm finding that helpful in not splitting my yarn. One thing that I have been playing around with my Lika needle tips, because I do like my Lika needle tips, but the cord on these yarns is a little bit, it's got too much memory. Like the cords really stay coiled up when I go to knit with them. So my solution has been, I don't know if I have one lying around. Aha, I do. My solution has been to combine interchangeable needle products. I don't know if this is something that is like taboo, but it's working really well for me, so I'm going with it. I'm knitting this sweater with my Lika Cipra tips, which I really enjoy, and the cord I'm using is a new cord by Knitter's Pride. It is from the Mindful collection. It's got a swivel tip, which means that the needle itself, just dropped my yarn, can rotate on the cord. And that keeps the cord from tangling up too much. So I've got that going on. As you can see, the needle tip, let's see if I can do this. The needle tip and the cord do sort of flow seamlessly from one to the next. So I don't have a bump. It's a very smooth join. And then I'm using these Knit Pro Mindful cords that don't coil up as much. They're a little bit more similar to a Haya lace cord or a Chowgu cord, in the sense that they don't keep their memory. They're more sort of firm, and I'm really enjoying knitting with them because my knitting stays like nice and loose, and I'm not fighting with the cord. It's not tangling up or twisting. So if you, like me, excuse me a minute, like your if you, like me, like your Lika tips, but find the cords a little challenging, give these a try. The one thing I have found is that their tips must be different lengths, because I bought the cord for a 3.5 inch tip, like my Lika tips, and put the 16-inch cord on to make what should make a 16-inch circular needle. And with the cord from Knitter's Pride, my finished interchangeable needle comes out to about 15 inches. So it's a little bit short. I still managed to use it and it was fine. But the dimensions, I think, of the needle tips with the cords is slightly different. It's much less important, I think, the longer your needle tip or the longer your needle that you're going for. So if you're using a longer cord and you're making, let's say, a 32-inch, or in this case, a 40-inch circular needle, the difference of 1 inch here or there doesn't make as much of a difference when you're knitting. But in the smaller dimensions, it may. So for me, it's okay. It's fine. But it's just something I thought I'd try out because I've heard really good things about these cords. And I do like my Lika tips. I have a collection of them. I don't want to get rid of them. So trying out a different cord is making those tips a little bit more useful for me because I'm not fighting with the cords as much. So that might be something that you look into at your local yarn shop, and you can get a cord like this. This cord cost $6.25 Canadian. So it's a small investment if you want to just try out the Knitter's Pride cord with your Licka needles. Now, not all cords and needles are going to be interchangeable. So I would encourage you to look online to see if anyone has done this research for you. I had actually Googled this and found that other knitters have tried this combination and found that it worked well for them, which is why I felt sort of confident in picking up a couple cords. But for $6, it's a relatively small investment to see if a new cord can change your knitting experience with the tips that you already like. So the Sabella pullover is the first in my sort of warm weather wardrobe additions, and I thought I'd share with you some of the other patterns that I'm looking at knitting for the warmer weather as I'm dreaming and praying for spring. So the Sabella I think will be a great first garment because it's longer sleeve and I'll be able to wear it sooner. I'm also thinking about knitting a t-shirt and a tank top. The t-shirt that I'd like to knit is the Flipside Tee. This is a design by Tanis Lavallee, and I'm looking forward to getting this on the needles. I've picked up some yarn that I've been wanting to use, and this is the Ritual Dyes Undine. It is a fingering weight yarn, and it is 60% organic cotton and 40% linen. There's 382 yards in 100 grams. So this is a fingering weight, and I'm going to make a solid color pullover in this like oatmeal-y color. It's called Natural. And I think that this will be, sorry, I don't have any more skeins of it on my desk right now. They're all hiding in my stash. I have 3 skeins of this. It should be enough to make this lovely t-shirt. And I think it'll be something that I can wear easily to work or to just for whatever. So I'm looking forward to giving this a try. I'm also looking forward to seeing how this yarn washes and dries, because my plan is to just throw it through the washer and the dryer. Other garments that I have made out of cotton and linen really did well in the washer and dryer, and the linen really seems to respond well to that sort of the fluffing. So that's my plan for this yarn, is the Flipside Tee by Tanis Lavallee. The next project I have plans for is a tank top. This tank top is called the Roman Holiday. It's by Sari Nordland. It has some very pretty details, I feel, in the front and the back V-neck. And it also has nice wide straps so that I'll feel comfortable wearing it with normal undergarments. I don't have to be fussy about what I wear underneath it. That pattern is calls for a DK weight, I believe, and I plan on using this yarn, which is more of a sport weight or heavy fingering even. This is some lovely yarn I picked up from Crux Fibers. It is 65% mulberry silk and 35% linen. I've used this yarn base before. It was dyed by a different dyer, but this one is one that I have in stash. This is called Aqua, and I picked it up at a local fiber event where I met the dyer of Crux Fibers, who was lovely, and picked up this beautiful aqua color. Now I believe I have 2 skeins of it, and I'm hoping that's enough for a tank top. This is 115 grams, 335 meters, 365 yards. So it sort of sits between a fingering and a sport weight. And I'll probably have to do a little swatch to see how it knits up. But I'm looking forward to a lovely, bright tank top out of this yarn. If I'm not getting gauge, I'm perfectly comfortable changing sizes that I knit to match the gauge to get the size that I want. So it could be that I need to knit a larger size if my gauge is not meeting the pattern specifications, but I'm just gonna have to swatch it and see. So this is Crux Fiber. It is a silk and linen blend. And that's my second garment that I'd like to knit for warmer weather. I guess it's the third because I'm working on one right now. The next thing I'd like to work on is a accessory. And this is a bag that I've seen sort of on Ravelry and other places for quite a while, and I got really interested in it. It's called the Florence Bag, and it's by Petite Knits. Now, you'll know my interest in Petite Knits. I'm a big fan of her aesthetic. I'm also a big fan of her patterns. And I don't know if you know this, it's something that I learned in the last, I would say, a few months, but Petite Knits has a shop, and you can purchase, I guess it would be like the haberdashery that you would need to make some of her patterns. So the Florence Bag, which I'll show right here, is a lacy open work knitted fabric. And I'm going to be using one of the recommended yarns. It is Tin Lina by Sandus Garn, which I think translates to thin linen. I'm guessing. This is a Norwegian yarn, and it is 65% cotton, 35% viscose, 14% linen. This is the color that I got. I'm going to show it to you right side up now, just to not confuse you. And I have 3 balls of it, which should be lots. This yarn, I think because of the viscose, it's got a bit more drape and like softness to it than some of the other yarns that I was showing you earlier without the added viscose, particularly the Ritual Dyes, which is just cotton and linen, and this one with the viscose. You can feel the softness in it. I have 3 balls of this yarn. I picked it up at Statement Junkie. It's a relatively inexpensive yarn, and I believe I hold 3 strands together to make this yarn. I have also picked up from Petite Knit some of the things that I need to make this yarn. So I picked up a lining, I picked up a zipper, and I picked up a leather strap that will go over top. And as I get into knitting that bag project, I'll show you some of the things that I purchased. I found the prices to be very reasonable, and they shipped here quite quickly from Denmark, I believe. So I've got all of the little added bits that I need. In fact, the lining is already sewn, so I'll just need to hand stitch my knitted outer fabric to the lining, which I've purchased. So I'm looking forward to assembling that. It's going to be a little bit of a different project, and I'll take you along with me as I start to make these warmer weather garments and accessories. The last thing I have lying around is another, I guess, garment's worth of the Undine. Now this is more of a rustic red color. I believe it's called Jewel Weed, and I have 2 skeins of this one. This one, I'm undecided as to what I'm going to make with this one. It's quite a like orangey red color, but I think it'll look nice on me. And I have 2 skeins of it, so I'm not sure what I'm going to make. I could make another outline tank. That's a pattern that I have made in the past and I wear and I enjoy. But I'm also sort of holding off on committing these skeins to any one project because I'm waiting to see how I like how the first project turns out in this yarn, in the lighter one, and also if any new projects or patterns come out in the next couple months that might kind of like grab my eye or pique my interest. Do you have any warm weather patterns that you're getting excited to knit? And if you do, would any of them be good for a fingering weight yarn? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for new patterns, and particularly with summer lightweight patterns that don't require a lot of yarn, they tend to knit up relatively quickly. So it could be that I have time to make up another tank top or t-shirt, but let me know if you have patterns that you've made and enjoyed and tend to wear a lot in the summer months. So while I'm sitting here watching the snowfall, I'm looking forward to spring, and I'm looking forward to some warmer weather knits. I hope in the next couple of weeks you find time to do things you like to do. I know I plan on knitting a lot and hopefully watching the snow melt. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.